Hi, my name is Rich. I'm living up in the mountains in Conifer, Colorado, and I'm just here to pick Jeet's brain a little bit.
Well, thank you, Rich, for inviting me and for this session. And I believe this session will help many people because I'm sure that they have this queries. I also been getting a lot of queries via email about past life and the charges and the traumas that it gets carried forward. But however, for the audience sake, if you can just elaborate the question, that will be great.
Okay. As I wrote you, I believe that I know a lot about some past lives that I have. One of them in particular, where I was a very mean, magical tyrant, and I hurt a lot of people and made a lot of enemies, and the energy that was behind that life seems to be plaguing me, if for no other reason than it's such a draw to me because the power that it holds is only beaten by the pleasures of being involved with that type of power. Mm-hmm. And so I have an internal conflict going on all the time between my now person saying, no, I don't want you anymore, I don't want that anymore, I'm not that kind of person anymore.
Right.
Whereas that past life still egging me on, saying, come on, man, you know it was a lot of fun, come on. So there's that conflict, and when that conflict arises, which is quite often, it starts creating negativity in my aura and my persona, and that starts affecting the people around me. And that is today's problem, is, I realize this is all in past life and we should work through the charges and things like that, but it's affecting me now. And I have difficulty trying to figure out how to solve this problem.
All right. Well, first of all, thank you for sharing that with us and with the audience as well, because this is something which is a common problem that many people face when, not many people, but the seekers who are, going through processes whereby they, their past lives are revealed to them. Now, we must understand one thing over here, which is, our body is, it is made up of a lot of things, right? Like we call it the DNA material, the genes. Now, the genes that we carry is, of course, it inherits a lot of information from our parents, from our ancestors, and a lot of other things. But there is one thing which is there in terms of information, what we call as samskaras in India, is the information that comes from your past life and past lives of not just only of planet Earth, but a lot of, because we all of us are different beings in different planets also, right? Now, if you understand the Einstein's theory or the theory of time, people, or even Einstein has said that time is an illusion. Now, many people just simply say that, but they don't understand what it really means. So everything that is happening in the now, in the present, that is for sure. But there is this misconception of the now. You see, what we call as now or the present is nothing but the memories of the past that is flowing through the now, which we assume is the current present time. You see,
right.
So it's actually just the past that is flowing in the present and in the future. So it's just the past. Whatever our mind and the brain is reprogramming is based on the memory which has already been there in the past, right? So that is one thing. The other thing is that past life things, especially past life revelations that occurs to a person. There are two things. One is it's either the mind simply tells you the story, it hallucinates and it makes you feel that it's really past life. But then there are real-time cases of past life revelations or past life memories that occurs. Now, how will you differentiate between that? Is a simple thing is if the moment you realize such memories of the past, right? Your body literally reacts. You feel some process which is going on inside. Now, when I say process, I don't mean hypertension or some sort of what do you call cold sweats. Not those reactions. I mean literal processing. You feel it uh, thoroughly, and it's very intense. You just feel it. It cannot be described, right? Now, what happens is even in past life revelations, what happens is you get a lot of flashes, right? And it comes in installments. It's up to you how you process it. Now, uh, the revelation that happened, say for example, you discovered one of your past life, right? But then there are a lot of other past lives. Now, the issue is that we get too much attached, be it with that life or even in this life. We get attached with a lot of personalities. Now, if you understand the whole programming of the self or of our real self, or what you call the true self, if you understand that from the spiritual perspective, all past lives are concurrently happening. It's not past. It's actually
Right.
happening concurrently. That's why it's affecting you in the now, right? So what happens here is that the information is passing and flowing through you. You don't know how to process it, and that's why it's affecting you, right? So now let's say that you have that thing, your mind or your that information or that personality in you, which is flowing as in the form of information, is telling you that look, this is what I was, or this is what you were earlier, and this is not what you are right now. Now, see, there is always be a clash, right? So you need to process it well. That is one thing. Whatever the emotions are, it could be good, bad, or ugly, right? And most of the past life revelations, when it reveals to you, it's not always a happy-go-lucky kind of memories, right? I mean, most of the cases that we have seen, it's the trauma that we carry forward, right? Now, we have to certainly dissolve the trauma. How will you do that? So to dissolve the trauma, you need to stay with that experience of it, right? But now what happens is if you try to do it psychologically, many people many times get stuck in that particular thing. That's why it affects you more, right? So the very simple thing that you can remind yourself in this kind of scenario is to remind yourself that this is not what I am. So it's the opposite of the teaching that says that is what I am. No, this is not what I am. You see, you need to de-identify with it. Now, what happens is, let's say your soul travel from body to body or life to life, and these memories get attached because we identify so much with our body, with our experiences of this life and the other lives, right? So if you go deep down, if you uncover the layers of your self, one by one, you'll discover that it's not you. So the guilt or the anger or the trauma or even the good feelings, like I am this or I was that or I was the king or whatever, that those things, we don't need to identify so much with those things if it's affecting us in the now. That is one thing. The other thing is that the mind likes to tell you the story all the time, right? So the
Yep.
mind hallucinates, or what happens is these things are revealed to you, but the mind interferes in between. So let us say the revelation comes, it is just for your information, FYI. All right, but the mind tries you and it drags you down so that you get attached to this information. You see,
Okay.
because the mind would love to make you suffer. That's what minds exist. I mean, it survives on that, right?
Right.
You're suffering, right? So
Right.
that is where you have to be really intensely aware, become aware of these things. You have to intensely become aware of the traits that are going through, right?
Yeah.
Now, let us say you have anger, you have whatever emotions that are coming. Don't suppress it. Okay, I would never suggest even at dark light energies, we never encourage anybody to suppress the emotions, even if it's anger or any kind of emotion, right? Because that's not how it's to be, right? You have to embrace it, you have to experience it and accept it, right?
I got into the habit of burying that anger because that anger got me in a lot of trouble growing up.
Right, right,
So
right.
I'm used to burying it and not facing it.
No, that's the whole point, right? So anger is a very good what do you call energy? It's just a form of energy which is now unfortunately what happens is we listen to a lot of motivational speakers and a lot of new age spiritual people. They say you must never get angry. It's not like that. In fact, in one of the Bhagavad Gita, if you know about Hinduism, in one of the verses of Lord Krishna, he says that anger is like an asset. Okay, you need to use it very wisely, and you need to use it constructively instead of using it destructively. Now, how can you use anger constructively, right? So here's the thing: the moment you start experiencing anger, right? If you just experience it and watch it as it is coming, instead of giving justifications or giving reasons to it, right? Instead of doing that, because the mind will do that, you see. So you need to just observe the activity of the mind first, that it is giving you reasons, it is giving you justifications, it is giving you, no, 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 this is why I'm getting angry. He told this thing to me, or she told me, or she did this to me, whatever reasons are, right? The thing is that whatever somebody else did, you are getting disturbed inside. So where is the problem? It's
Inside.
within you. So here what we do is, whenever even here when in the people who participate in the courses, we keep telling them this thing, that if somebody hates you, right, if somebody is not liking you and if somebody hates you, it's never your problem, it's their problem, because where is the hatred? It's in them. It's not
Yeah.
nothing to do with you, right? So same thing is with anger, but you need to process it well. Now that energy which comes, whenever there is anger, let's say you saw something on the news and you get frustrated because of that. For example, you see a lot of injustice and a lot of crimes that is happening around, and it bothers you, right, to some level. So you become upset, and that frustration is there. But then you need to ask yourself, is there anything you can do about it? If you can, then do it. Who's stopping you?
Right.
But if not, then why are you unnecessarily creating the fuss within and with around you, right? So that
Yeah.
awareness needs to be there. That awareness is just the focus that you need to turn inside, whenever that anger or something that gets triggered, right? So the best thing to do here is, suppose if you're not able to process it well, the best thing is, in India we call it mourn. Mourn is silence. So you just leave the room and just sit in some isolated place and process this in silence for some time.
Okay.
Whatever the thoughts and ideas are coming, just walk away from that room, okay, and go into some other room, sit in silence and just process it. But you need to be in a meditative mode, to process it. You just can't just sit like that and become an observer. It's not like that. You need to go into meditation or meditative mode so that you can process it well. Otherwise the mind will again fool you. You will say, okay, I just process it, there are a lot of thoughts and ideas coming up, check it, I'll just go back, have some beer. you know
What you're
the
saying
mind.
makes
Sorry.
what you're saying makes a lot of sense because it's like you know me. uh, I do let stuff bother me that shouldn't. I don't know how to process it because I don't think I've tried hard enough. And I mean everything you're saying makes sense, and it fits me to a T.
Well, I would just say that, as far as I know you, Rich, you are a very straightforward person. So and it's good to be straightforward with your own self first, right? So the mind will give you a lot of reasons, lot of justifications. So become aware of that. And of course, simultaneously the mind will blame others and situations,
Yeah.
right? Now same thing happens and applicable for your past life thing. The mind is giving you an excuse, actually, that it's because of the past life thing. It's tempering you. Well, whatever the reason is, the end of the day, the end result is getting you're getting affected in the now, right now, right? So so the best thing to do is to experience this anger or the pain or whatever the trauma that is happening without any judgment, without any any labels. Just sit and breathe and just see what's going on. And then layer by layer, if you truly experience it, because we cannot actually teach anyone to experience, right? It's your own journey in that sense. You'll need to do it. So the more gradually you do it. Now it's a gradual process, let me tell you that. It's not an instantaneous process, okay? It's a gradual process. It takes time, right? Because these are the patches from the past. You must understand, it takes time to heal, right? Now, I'll give you a very good example. Say, for example, I myself personally, I know many of my, couple of my past lives. Now, what happens is, I meet a person for the first time. He or she is not aware of me, and I mean, he or she is meeting me for the first time with this physical body. But the subconscious mind has that memory, right, of the person who I was in my past life, and the person in him or her of that past life will relate to me in the same sense. So this person will either like me more or they will repel. They will try to run away from me. They will be just without any reason. They will just hate me, and they themselves will not be aware why they are resisting me. You see, so that resistance is an unsolved charge which is there in them, and they are not aware why they are doing it. They'll just be like, I don't know, I just don't like this person. And it's not just with me, with anybody it happens. So why does that happen is because the past life charge or the trauma is carried forward, you see. So that same hatred is carried forward. But the thing is that whatever the whatever the emotions are, we need to process it in this life, right now, here itself. That is the purpose of that is one of the purpose of the life, actually, you see. Because I'll tell you why. If we don't process it, right, sooner or later, whenever we die, it's again going to get carried forward, right? So energy, when we speak of energy, so as it goes by the definition, it can never be created or destroyed. It can only be transformed, right? Now this particular energy, if it's not transformed, then also use, it will still carry the same substance, right, in whatever form it goes.
Right. Now, I believe that's how I worded my question to you, was I need to learn how to transform this. So I think that's must be the key word. And I do, my wife tells me all the time that I don't spend enough time to process. She says, you can't just go outside, scream, and come back in and be done.
That's the that's the psychological thing, like you just. But see, whatever works out for you, Rich. Let me tell you this: it's not that is. Sorry.
It hasn't been working so far, so.
Yeah. No, I'm just giving you an example. It's not necessary that you always have to close your eyes and sit. Okay, but yeah, when that thing happens to you, you can just in the initial phase, you need to process it like that, so that your mind or the brain slows down, and then you process this information. That is one thing. But there are different ways also. So it is not always necessary that you have to sit. You can just lie down and listen to some chill out music, because for many people music works, right? So you can listen to some healing music or any type of music that you like, except some hardcore rock band. but but even if that works, it's fine. The thing is that you need to vent out, you need to process and then let this energy express itself. So the bottom line is not just the transformation here. The bottom line is to express that emotion, to express that energy, not even emotion, sorry, to express the energy that we are having because of whatever is happening. You see, now when I say expressing your energy, please don't misunderstand by breaking TV or throwing things, right, or
That's
hitting someone. Right, but what and how we can do that is let's say, for example, you first process this energy, and then what you can do is you can just go out in nature, or you can just have a walk or do some activity. The physical activity is must. Okay, so you do some physical activity, and in that process the energy gets transformed constructively. But then there is a catch there. If your mind is clinged to the emotion of the past, right, and if you're constantly focusing and thinking on the charge or that emotion, then it will not transform. You see,
right.
you need to, like I said, you need to experience it. That doesn't mean that you need to keep focusing on it. There is a difference,
Okay.
right? The thing is that if you keep on focusing on it, right, whatever the reasons is, it'll keep on getting triggered, right? So it will multiply, and the moment it multiplies, it will break you down, eventually. So that's not what we want, right? So
Right.
instead of going into breakdown mode, you need to go into breakthrough mode. And how does that happen? Is it will not happen by thinking positive thoughts, positive thoughts. No, that never works. That never works. All right. Just by thinking positive thoughts, it never works, because it's the mind who differentiates between positive and negative. And that is the reason at first place, because we have labeled something as negative, because we have labeled that no, 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 you should not have anger. That's why anger is coming up, right?
Right.
So we don't say in spirituality or in energetics, we never say that you should suppress those things. No, you should embrace it. Whatever comes, it could be anger, it could be guilt, it could be whatever comes, right? Just embrace it first. And then what happens is we don't speak about it because it's an automated process. It's like AI, artificial intelligence, right? That everyone has, and it processes the information in customized mode. So it could be different for you, it could be different for me, it could be different for anyone else. So for each individual, it's different. You see, just like how we have different diet, or let's say if you go to gym, the gym instructor will not give you same exercise from day one, right? They will give you different exercises, and
Yeah.
looking at your physique, they will give you exercise, right? They will not just say, okay, you know what, grab this and start. Right? So based on those levels, these things are customized. So every experience that you get, especially when it's coming from past life, uh, try to contemplate on it. Like where is it taking you?
That's one of the difficulties that I've encountered with this problem is when I do try to meditate on it and talk to the creator, I can't reach them. I it's like almost a wall that I hit, and I can't get through it. I can't get over it. I can't get around it. I can't get under it. I don't know what the problem is.
The thing is that, and this is a very famous one of my tagline that I share all the time is, it's not that you don't know what it is. It is just that you don't want to know what it is.
Right.
All right. What I mean by that is this wall that you say, who is the creator of the wall?
Me?
Yes. Like, there is this famous saying, there is a very nice famous saying I've heard somewhere, that you yourself are an obstacle for your own growth, right? You are the
Yeah.
chain which is binding you down, right? So you need to break the chain. So it's as simple as that. And here again, when we speak of astral traveling, or the different modes and different dimensions, like I said, the mind intervenes in between. And this is what I teach, even to the people who join our courses for astral traveling. uh, I tell them at the very beginning itself that, whatever happens, just see it as an experiencer, because the mind will tell you a lot of stories. And if you observe, I mean, I don't know about you, but I've we have observed this in many astral projections, or past life cases that we see. So all the time, there'll be either some king or queen of some country, or there will be a warrior or a soldier, or there will be a president or some celebrity. This happens because it's more of collective. So what happens is, when you're going in that mode, right? Sometimes your mind catches up the collective information, and then it integrates with the guilt which is there in you already. So the guilt is already there in you, of this life, or of you basically. But because the mind does not want you to see that, so it creates this story, and then integrates the other information with this. So you start believing that I did it. You understanding what I'm saying?
Yeah, I've had a couple of times now where I've traveled, and this, I'm pretty sure it was a unique situation because I didn't recognize where I was, who I was with, but I was in a wartime scenario.
Oh, okay.
Under attack, and just the only thing I gleaned from it is the fear that I felt. There are a couple times when I don't know anything other than that. I don't know the hows or the whys, but I know it was someplace that I was not familiar with in this life.
Yeah.
So, I do that a lot, but but the difference with this other problem is that it's not corporeal. It's not. I can't feel that I'm anywhere. It's just an energetic pull. It's like almost a black hole. It's just
yes. Yes.
So that's probably a little bit why I don't know how to deal with it, because I don't understand it.
Well, I understand the other part which you just mentioned about the vacuum, or the experience of the black hole. That happens a lot with people who do astral traveling. Basically, what happens is, when your astral body leaves the physical body, and it's what do you call? It's trying to travel. Many times, what happens is, because you have emotions blockages within you, the astral body gets stuck somewhere in an unknown location, and we call it dark tunnel of astral world. Okay, so basically that dark tunnel is not an actual place in the astral world. It's not like that. But what happens is, the astral body gets stuck between this plane and the astral world. So it gets stuck because of the emotional pull, that the emotional charges affects your astral body, you see. And these are all the emotional what do you call emotional traumas, or the charges that are there in your physical body. Okay, that needs to be processed. But again, like you said, that you saw a couple of places which you are not aware of. So there is definitely a high possibility that it is coming from the past, or it's your astral body traveling to those places and you don't know those places. You see. So it's in this life that your astral body is traveling to those places, giving you the glimpses of it, but you are not able to process, or you're not able to understand what exactly it is. Now, this is how you process this type of information. You don't need to understand with your logic what or where it is. The best part about this experience is once you get one dot, then the nature or the God or whatever you want to call it will always show you other dots also, and dot by dot it automatically it connects. So it will automatically be revealed to you if it is meant to be revealed to you. Otherwise, it will just be an experience. You can just have a gala time. You saw a beach or something. That's fine. But that's how it is, right?
Yes, I'm trying to think where to go with this information.
So that
Deep
is the
recovery.
other, yes. So that is the other thing. Like I said, many spiritual seekers do this mistake when the moment they get this type of experience, they want to do something with it. Now, when we say process, we don't mean to do something. You see, we don't mean to do some activity. Like I said, just simply go into meditative mode and experience it and see what is going on. You see, it's very much alive. Now, if you try to do something with it, if you try to take it as an activity, you will never get anywhere. And because there is nowhere to go at first place, there is nothing to
Yeah,
do at first place. You see, there is nothing to do.
yeah, yeah. I think you're absolutely right in the fact that I'm putting up that wall because I don't want to confront it. I don't want to be close to
Yes,
it. I don't want
yes,
to. I just don't want to. but I know I need
yes,
to. So that's my conflict. I know I
yes.
need to work on this, and I just don't want to yet. Why not? I mean, it's now affecting me, or I'm realizing that it's affecting me in my life in ways that I don't like. So I need to
Correct.
change that. So yeah, I think I know where I'm going now.
So, like I said, there is nowhere to go. I, I, I would like to rephrase it rather. I would say that now you'll be into being rather than becoming. You see. So
Right,
right now, when you are going and floating around that wall or going into that mode of vacuum, you are still becoming. You're trying to become something. When I say you, I don't mean you, but the mind and the tricks that it plays.
right,
But if you become aware, uh, you know, then that experience will transform itself into being mode rather than becoming mode, right?
right,
And then the true revelation will come to you. Whatever is required to process the true revelation. In fact, it will tell you the entire story of past life. Now, like I told you, yes, of course, let's say it is a genuine experience of the past life, but even then, it's not you. It is something, a part of you which is no longer existing, right? It's dead. So that's why we say that the past is dead. The past is always dead, right? So it's that past that is flowing through us. That's why we all are also in a way dead. We are not alive. We are not living. We are dead in a way, because
yeah,
we are not aware of the real thing that is going on right now. We are not aware of the present experiences. Right now, if I ask you to close your eyes, and if I tell you that, what, Rich, there is a new flavor of an ice cream, which is a mango flavor, but the color of that ice cream is red. Immediately, your brain and your mind will give you images of red color, but a mango ice cream, and the taste of that ice cream will come in your mouth, and you'll start watering if you like it. But then the reality is there is no ice cream like that at all, right now.
right,
I just painted you a picture and the mind processed it. You see,
yeah,
that's what it is doing. And where does that taste come from? And where does that reference of red color come from? It's from your past, right? Because your teacher in the school told you that this is red color.
yeah,
And sometimes you must have had the mango ice cream, so that taste comes in, right? So the whole process is nothing but past memories processing itself or reprocessing itself, and presenting to yourself as present. And we assume that it is the now. Well, there is no such thing as the power of the now. That's why I always say, that there is, power of now. No, no, there is no now. It's all happening concurrently and simultaneously. We
yeah,
need to just be, and when I say just be, what I mean is just be the silence. Right now, there will be so much of voices of different personalities within you, of your past life or your this life, right? But if you just gradually go into the state, and this is a state of consciousness, you cannot just try it. It happens automatically, but it happens gradually if you start meditating and witness situations within and start experiencing things. Then you will go into a state of silence, and from that silence, everything is, it just blossoms. You see. But then again, what actually happens, that experience, it cannot be described in words at all, because it comes from silence. No, it cannot be described in words.
Yeah.
And by the way, the moment you try to, interpret or transmute any kind of experience in language or in words, the real essence of the experience is destroyed, because you cannot actually explain any one experience, right? So
Right.
that is one thing. So all I can suggest you now is, just become aware of all these things. Just see, if anger comes, first of all, don't repress it or suppress it by saying, no, 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 it should not come, it's a bad thing. No, don't do it. It'll harm you. You see, it'll harm you if you do that. The more you suppress, and I've seen this, with a lot of spiritual people and a lot of religious people, they say that it's a sin. It's sin to get angry. It's not good to get angry. Well, it's a part of an emotion. You just cannot just get away with it, right? And nobody, and let's be honest, nobody is that compassionate in this present scenario right now. If someone comes and slaps you, you're not going to say that, oh, it's okay, let me experience it. No. Right? Definitely you're going to become angry, right?
Yeah.
But there are some great beings who say that, no, no, let me experience it. That's the mask that they wear, unfortunately.
I think it's okay to experience it. It's not
Absolutely.
okay to react to it.
Yes.
The reaction is what's always gotten me in trouble.
So
I never experienced it. I just reacted to it.
yes. Yes. So there is a difference between reaction and response, no?
Yeah.
When you enter into the state of that silence that I was talking about, you will not react. You will respond to situations, and that response can be anything. Okay, it's not necessarily mean that you have to be compassionate and you just go and hug around people. No, it could be anything. All right. It will be in that moment, whatever is required for that moment, it will happen. It is just that you will not perform the actions based on your prejudices or your preconceived notions. You will not perform your actions based on that. That is the true response, right?
Right.
So
Right. Okay. Well, I have a lot of firewood to chop, so I think if I need to vent some anger, that's the way to do it.
oh. Well, like I said, it could be anything. You can try it out, but then again, uh, I would suggest that gradually you make a habit to experience it. Like I said,
Right.
because the mind will always try to make you escape from the real experience.
Yeah.
Right. It is just that in case if you're not able to tolerate it, if it's getting too much, then you try to use this kind of things to try to vent it out, right? But please don't vent out on your family members.
No,
Because that will be a different thing, and that will be a different problem for you. And that, but right, but yeah, you can do this. You can just. I personally, I have experienced with a lot of people, when they are not able to process any emotion. I take them to some natural place, like in the woods or in some garden, and ask them to settle down and just be there. And trust me, it works a lot, because trees and nature is the best healing mother, you can say.
I'm surrounded by trees and nature. All I have to do is walk outside.
Yes. So
It's not long.
you're already in the center of the healing university, if you may will.
Yep.
You just need to go outside and heal yourself. That's all. In
Well,
fact, try to communicate with the trees. Try to establish some connection there. It really works out well, and that will also help you grow your sensitivity. And the more sensitive you become, the more your consciousness grows or evolves. I mean, consciousness is always there. It is just the awareness that needs to grow, right? So your intensity of awareness will become more. So this will help you then. You try it out.
My wife's been on me to talk to you about this for a long time.
Yes, yes, but I hope you or your mind is satisfied now.
Yeah, I just, I take things sometimes too literally, too logically. I
Yeah.
have to have reasons for what occurs, and I've spent the last decade and a half trying to get rid of that left-sided brain problem kind of thing, and I guess I'm not trying hard enough. I need to try harder.
Well, you know what? You don't need to try. That's what I've been saying. The more you try,
That's the problem.
but I would say this that Rich, and I'm glad that you are sharing all this thing with me, because what happens is the more logical you become, the more doubtful you become. You see,
Yes,
see, there is a
yes,
difference between curious and doubtful, right? Or
right.
suspicious. I'm curious to know something, that's fine, but I'm suspicious or having some doubts, then it creates problem not just with our own self but with everybody in our lives, right?
Right. Yeah.
And nobody likes to be doubted or what do you call, less trusted upon, right? So
Questions. Yeah.
yeah, see, questions are good if you want to have clarifications for some things, you know. So now this is something on a psychological level that you need to communicate a lot. Like I said, anything, be it energy or any of the things, it has to be expressed. And how will you express express it out with communication, right? You need to communicate, be it
Yeah.
with God or be it with anybody,
Yeah.
right? So the best way to solve any issues is to communicate and express it out. That is one thing. If the opposite person is recipient and in a receiving mode, but if you feel that it's not, then just try to straighten up things. But then again, like I said, here what happens is the more logic, when logic comes into the picture in relationship specifically, logic will always want to possess and control things. So it will be always like it's not my way or highway, it is only the my way when it comes to logic.
Right.
And that is the problem. We want things, we want people to behave the way we want them to be. It's not that, the mind says that, okay, I'm just letting them the way they are. No, we are fooling ourselves there.
I'm laughing because you sound like my wife.
Oh my God.
She tells me these things now and then.
So see, sometimes what happens is, the answers you're looking is already there, but you just need the validation. So that's the validation for you in that
Right.
sense, right? So I'm sure Debbie will be laughing up when she'll watch this video for sure.
She just shakes her head.
She's just amazing, and so are you. I feel that Rich. I feel that you have this, a very good potential to grow. When it comes to astral traveling. So I would really want you to focus on that rather than focusing on meddling your energies with all these things. Focus on evolution in that sense. Focus on progress in that sense, rather than petty issues of human mind. You see, this is a part and parcel of life. It's fine. Just flow with it. And end of the day, you'll realize that whatever bothered you right now so much, it really didn't had that much value after 10 years if you look back at it. you know
Right.
and many times what happens is, in the process of the anger and all these things, we tend to lose the precious moment, right? So so don't do it. Just experience. You're having such great experiences. I would suggest you to practice more meditation so that you can automatically go into astral travel. And by now I'm sure you'll be able to break the wall. So right, I'm sure you'll do that. So, and in case if you don't, if you're not able to, you can just chant this mantra, Jeet, where are you? And I'll be there to help you.
Okay. Oh, I just deciding to go past that wall is probably all I needed to do,
Yes,
because I didn't want to go past it before.
yes,
I'm, I'm afraid of what's behind it.
yes.
Not so much anymore.
I'm glad to hear that. And
Thanks.
that's the other thing, no, that we have a lot of fear. No, we have fear of unknown. We have fear of just losing some things, and like I said, the mind is possessive in nature, especially the logical mind. So it wants to possess things, it wants to control things. I mean, just look at it right now. Everybody is working from home because of the corona issue, right? Because of coronavirus, everybody is
Yeah.
at home, and everybody is filled with anxiety. What will happen tomorrow? Will we lose our jobs, or what is going to happen? Will the market crash? Well, the simple thing is, you should just ask yourself, is there anything you can do about it? Is it under your control? No, right? If the market has to crash, it will crash. There is
Yep.
nothing you can do by boggling up, or by getting hyped about it, or becoming anxious about it. It's not going to help any which ways, right? So,
No.
but yeah, if you're worried about a job, then you must definitely start looking out
Like,
for other options. That's for sure. But
it's bad enough when you're just unemployed and looking for a job. I mean, this is surreal. This has never happened to us before. And
yes,
I'm fortunate enough to where I am a nurse, but
yes,
I'm working in home health care, so I'm not in the hospital. And
yes,
my job is still okay as long as I mind the rules. I wear a mask. I wear shoe booties. I
yes.
use thieves for antiviral. I stay away
Wow.
from people. We don't go places. I don't want
Wow.
this virus. So
and and it's people like you who are the real heroes, I feel, right now in this situation. It's
if we would
people
all
like
just mind
you.
our cues and stay home, we'd be okay. But everybody's got free will, and they confuse that with freedom.
Oh,
In
yes,
my,
yes.
it's I don't know. People just they jump up and down and say, "Oh, I have the right to go out and spread my germs." Okay.
Well, that's the whole point, right? The human consciousness is not performing as how it is supposed to be. That's why we are having such problems, isn't it, at first place? And so, yeah, well, again, nothing we can really do about it, except we can just pray or meditate, and focus on ourselves.
Well, it's just that's the nature of things. Things spread amongst humans. It doesn't matter
Yes.
what it is. So energy.
Yeah.
So, well,
Yeah.
you're right. That's what we've been trying to put out good energy, and
Yeah.
I hope the next person that feels it passes it on. So
The thing is that, but here again, what happens is, I've seen that, people go into becoming mode. You see, they see all this, they read that, send out love, send out positive vibes. Well, you yourself don't have love. How can you send love when you are filled with hatred? You cannot do that, right?
right.
But then there are people who fool themselves, I am love. Well, if you are love, you don't need to declare that I am love at first place.
Just be. Just be.
Yeah, and I think that's where, people get screwed up. So become aware of these mind tricks, the tricks of the mind, right?
Yeah.
uh, but then don't allow the mind to intervene in your actual experiences, because that's what is happening, right? You are getting some astral experiences, or some past life experiences, which are revealed to you. Just see it as an experience, right? Don't try to analyze it. And most people do that. I also personally used to do it when I first saw a couple of my past life. I was very young. I was hardly 4 or 5 when I realized a lot of my past lives. And as a kid, I didn't know how to process it, of course, right? So
Yeah.
I was like, what's going on? And then I used to, as a kid, I used to ask my parents, what is all this? What is this? And my parents were literally shocked, that how I know this kind of information. So it's a whole new thing. But that's what it is. You need to, the mind tries to find out meaning, right? It tries to jump to some conclusions. and that's where it creates the goof up. It goofs up there. Instead of that, just see the experience, and I'm telling you, trust me on this. If it is meant for you, the past life revelations, it will come one by one in installments. And then the fun part would be when you start connecting the dots, you will see this gloriousness of life, how it works, how we all are connected, right? Even you and I mean, I always tell this, even a beggar on the street is somewhere connected to you with your past life.
I actually have a list somewhere that I can't find.
Oh.
For you.
So maybe we can we'll do a next session for that.
Yeah, when I find it, I'll let you know.
Yes, definitely. But this one in particular was a great session, I believe, for you, and I feel that this will definitely bring that transformation that you're looking for. And I'm sure you and Debbie will both be very happy with this after this session.
I know I will be. I think she'll be just thrilled.
The the best part about this is that the more you stay with that silence, it affects and reflects in the other person also.
Yeah.
So automatically that silence, the mind or the brain actually connects with the silence, and then it works mysteriously like that. So I'm sure it will be really great. That's it. That wins.
It's the best way to get a response from her is not to talk to her.
Well, again, there is this preconditioned notion, my friend.
Yes. Yes.
Just joking, but just just be aware of all these things also, because sometimes our jokes also create problem, right?
No. Yeah.
All right, then. Thank you so much, Rich. Thank you for having me, and we'll catch up soon with the other list of your questions.
All right. Yeah? It should be interesting.
All right, then. Have a nice day. Take care. Namaste.
Namaste.